at that point of time, the pressure of a fixed amount of gas uh, inversely varies with its volume.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Saisir. Okay, anyway, let's continue with the, I think we were discussing about the graphs, which is for the Boyle's law. Okay, so as I said, at constant temperature, and if you're taken the mass of the amount of the substance as constant, then you can see that at constant temperature, the pressure of fixed amount of volume of gas will be inversely proportional to its volume, and we can write as P is equal to K into 1 by V, where K is the proportionality constant, which depends on amount of gas, temperature, and the units of pressure and be expressed. And finally, we were rearranging, or we were just modifying the equation, and we said pressure into volume. The product of pressure and volume is a constant, and you can say that P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2 when you have two different pressure type, and for the same system, if you're changing the pressure, you can find the volume by using that equation, which can also be represented by like P1 by P2 is equal to P2 by V1. This is the another way of representing the Boyle's law. It's a different representation, and based on these equation, numericals will be coming. Then we discussed about the graphical verification of Boyle's law, and we discussed about two different graphs. The first graph, as you can see in the first graph, it is a pressure versus volume graph, and at different isotherm it is drawn. That means isotherm means it's a graph which is plotted at constant temperature. So the red line, the red curve is like at 600 Kelvin, green one is at 400 Kelvin, and the violet one is at 200 Kelvin. So they are isotherms. Isotherm means graph or the values you have plotted at constant temperature. And you can see the pressure versus 1 by V graph will be a straight line that indicates that pressure and reciprocal of volume are directly proportional, or pressure is inversely proportional to the volume. Oh, I hope this till this part it is very clear. Anyway, I'll upload this one so you can copy it from there. In three different graphs you can use to verify the Boyle's law. The first one, as we discussed in the previous slide, pressure versus 1 by V. Pressure versus 1 by V graph will be a straight line because pressure is inversely proportional to 1 by V. So pressure is directly proportional to 1 by V, or you can say pressure is inversely proportional to the volume. So the graph will be a straight line. So this is the first graphical verification of Boyle's law, that pressure versus 1 by V graph will be straight line for Boyle's law. Pressure versus 1 by V graph is straight line.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
You can upload,
Yes.
right? I already uploaded.
Sorry, Muzamil, it was not clear.
Ma'am, the PPT you're going to upload it, right?
Yeah, I will upload. The second graph for the verification is PV versus P graph, which will be a straight line parallel to the x-axis. PV versus P graph will be a straight line parallel to the x-axis. This is the another way of verifying Boyle's law. If you want to verify whether your system is what you can say, obeying Boyle's law or no, then you can plot a pressure versus volume, PV versus pressure graph, where the product of pressure and volume is plotted on y-axis and pressure is plotted on x-axis. The graph will be a straight line parallel to the x-axis. the third one is like pressure versus volume. Then you can see it will be a curve which shows that when pressure increases, volume decreases. It's inversely proportional, showing an inverse proportion. Pressure versus volume graph will be a curve. So these are the three different graphs which is used for the verification of Boyle's law. From its shape, after drawing, you can find out whether the system is obeying Boyle's law or not. Basically, from these laws, what is coming is numerical based on it. Relationship can be derived between the density and the pressure of gas using Boyle's law. We know that as per the Boyle's law, what is the equation? PV is a constant. That is what you can say is the equation. Or PV is equal to K1, and we know that density is equal to mass by volume. So if you replace the volume, volume will be is equal to you can just substitute the value of V in the equation M by V. V will be equal to K1 by P. And if you substitute this value of V in the density equation, V is equal to M by V. Finally, what you will get is density is equal to K, that is the constant, with multiplied by P. Because this will become a new constant. Yeah. Because mass of an object is a fixed mass. So mass by the proportionality constant of a Boyle's law, M by K1, this will be a new constant will be coming. That is why it is written as K dash, indicating it's a new constant. Because mass is a fixed value, it won't change, it's not a variable. That is why a mass, which is a constant, divided by the Boyle's law constant, will become a new constant that is represented as K dash. So this is how you can connect density with the Boyle's law equation. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Because if you just know the density equation and if you know the Boyle's law equation, then you can do in situ at paper, or no need to by heart all these things. Just substitute the value of volume from the Boyle's law equation and then you will get your answer. Density is equal to a constant, which is a new constant, which is not a Boyle's law constant, which is a new constant from mass and K1. K1 is the Boyle's law constant, mass is the, it's again a constant. So that is why a new constant K dash has been represented, like in the equation. Or maybe sometime if it's a numerical, what you can do is like till this is enough. Because maybe in the numerical they will give you the mass value and K1 is given. Then you can just use this equation. No need to write K star P. Okay. So based on what is the requirement in the question, you can use the equation. Significance of Boyle's law. After this Robert Boyle's theory only, this law only, they found that gases can be compressed to any volume. Gases can be compressed to any volume. Because pressure and volume is inversely proportional. So when pressure increases, volume will be decreasing at constant temperature. Without making changes in the temperature or the amount of the gas, by applying high pressure, you can decrease the volume or gas can be compressed. The application questions which is coming from Boyle's law will be like this. Why do mountaineers feel dizziness at high altitudes? Or why you can say next question, why is helium filled research balloons only half filled before launching?
Ma'am, can you go back to previous
Yeah.
slide? See screenshot.
Previous slide, okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
So these are the different questions you can say which is connected to Boyle's law. They can ask like application question. They don't mention the name Boyle's law, but here in both the cases you can see in higher altitude what happened to the pressure. Pressure is high or low at high? Pressure? What happened to the pressure? Yes, Jonathan?
It's lower, ma'am.
Yeah, it decreases. And higher altitude pressure is low. So what happened when pressure is low? What happened to the volume? Volume increases and constant temperature if you're saying that. So these are the different questions you can answer based on Boyle's law. So I'm not explaining much. You can research it later. Anyway, I will upload these questions in the PPT. So just for your information, these are the application questions which can be asked from Boyle's law. We will do the numerical at the end after completing all the laws together so that we can just focus on solving the numericals. Okay, so I'll just finish Boyle's law and I'll move to the next law. And after the end of all the discussion of all the laws, we will come back and we'll do the numericals together. Okay. The next important law in related to the gas is like Charles law. Charles law. So as I said, in the even though it's chartless states of matter, we are basically looking for gas molecules and their properties of behavior. And the first law we discussed was Boyle's law, which is concerning pressure and volume at constant temperature. Charles law means pressure is kept constant. At constant pressure, pressure is kept constant. The volume is proportional to absolute temperature. The volume is proportional to absolute temperature. Volume is proportional to absolute temperature. So this is the relation or the law connecting volume and temperature of a gaseous substance. Volume and temperature of a gaseous substance. Volume is proportional to temperature, or you can say volume is equal to K into T, where K will be the proportionality constant. Or you can say V by T is a constant. So Charles law means it is showing a relationship between volume and temperature of a gas system at constant pressure. V by T is a constant. That means volume and temperature always increases or decreases proportionately. They are always proportional. It changes are always proportional to each other, proportional to each other. Is that clear?
Ma'am, could you explain the absolute temperature part again? Sorry.
Which one?
The absolute temperature part.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. Why the statement is contained just not a temperature. Why they are using the word absolute temperature? Why they are specific? What is the difference between using the word temperature and absolute temperature? Okay, or I'll just redefine my question. What is temperature of a system? You got a gas molecule in a beaker or container, and what does that mean? The temperature means for the gas.
Kinetic energy.
Kinetic energy or
Heat.
Heat. Okay. Any other opinion or idea?
The excitation of molecules, the
Okay.
molecular energy.
Okay. See, generally, energy of a system or energy of a substance is related to its movement, or you can say kinetic energy. Energy of a molecule means the ability to move. The energy is always related to the movement of a particle. So, gas molecule, the temperature is 30 degree or something we are using the number mean that much it's related to the energy, that much energy is there, or they are able to move to that much. For example, you have to compare 30 and 40. So you know that 40, the temperature is more mean that more energy is there, for the movement will be more. So always for a gas molecule especially, the temperature is something which is related to its movement, the energy for the movement. Absolute temperature means, so if that is the case, if that is the definition of the temperature, then zero means it should be no movement, right? If our definition of temperature means the energy or related to the movement of a particle in a gaseous system, then if that is our definition, then 0 degree or 0 degree Celsius mean it should be no movement of the particle. But in reality, we know 0 degree, it's a solid state, like for especially for H2O molecule. It's if you take it's a simple example, H2O ice, 0 degree means it's a solid state, but still the particle can vibrate. The vibrational motion is there. So it's not a complete arrest of movement. So that means the temperature scale which we are using, that is degree Celsius, is not completely satisfying its definition. So if that is the case, 0 degree Celsius is not a scale which is not completely satisfying this definition of temperature. So we have to have a different system where 0 should be equal to no movement. Here 0 degree Celsius is not equal to no movement, because in degree Celsius we know 0 is not a very low temperature, or at 0 degree for many of the substance if you take, still the particle has some kind of movement. So degree Celsius is the scale which we commonly use, but that is not satisfying the statement of a temperature. So later a new scale was introduced which is known as Kelvin scale, which is also known as absolute temperature scale, where 0 Kelvin is equal to the temperature at which the particle does not have any movement possible. That is known as its absolute zero temperature. You might have heard about it, absolute
Yes, ma'am. Is it
zero
like the
temperature. Yes?
absolute zero? Is it like the coldest
Ma'am,
temperature?
ma'am says 0 degree Celsius equals to no movement and 0 Kelvin equals to absolute zero temperature.
No, 0 Kelvin is equal to no movement, and that 0 Kelvin is known as absolute zero, because it's
Oh,
absolutely satisfying that at 0 stands for no energy for particle for the movement. In degree Celsius,
ma'am,
if
so
you
the
take
no
0 degree
movement is equal
Celsius,
to the absolute zero temperature.
yeah, that's what. So this is as per the definition of temperature, because temperature is related to the movement of the particle, but in degree Celsius, 0 doesn't mean that it is equal to zero energy or zero movement or no movement. So that degree Celsius scale is not completely agreeing what is the statement. So that is why we got a new different scale, which is known as absolute temperature scale, or which is also known as thermodynamic scale, where 0 means no energy or zero energy. That is why Kelvin scale is one among them. There is some other scale also is there, but what we commonly use is the Kelvin scale. So absolute zero scale mean it is a scale, as per the scale 0 should be equal to zero energy or no movement of the particle inside the system. So all the different scales for the temperature, which will be in that scale, if 0 is equal to no energy, then it is known as absolute temperature scale or absolute temperature. So absolute temperature, the meaning is that the particle should not have any movement at that temperature. Am I clear? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I got some definitions over here, like absolute temperature, which is also known as thermodynamic temperature, is the temperature of an object on a scale where zero is taken as absolute zero. That means no energy or no movement. So this absolute zero scale or absolute temperature, there are different scales in coming under that. Kelvin scale is one among them, which we are commonly using. Don't just misunderstand that Kelvin scale is the only scale. There are some others, I think, I don't remember, I think something with Raytag or something. One more was there, but that was not commonly using. Kelvin scale is a commonly using absolute temperature scale. And you always need to have this conversion in most of the question, because in the exam or maybe the question they will give you in degrees Celsius, but you have to use it in Kelvin scale. Especially for Charles law and all, it is only Kelvin scale should be used for the numerical. So if you want to convert something in degrees Celsius to Kelvin, it should be added with 273.15.
Ma'am?
This one. 273.15. Yeah, that is a precise value. Yes? Or you might have heard that 0 Kelvin is equal to minus 273.15 degrees Celsius. If you want to say that what is the absolute temperature in Kelvin, 0 Kelvin, that is no movement, then you have to cool an object to minus 273.15, which is an unachievable temperature, negative 273.15. Or you can say,
ma'am, so you're saying negative 273.15 degrees Celsius is unachievable?
Negative 273.15 degrees 0 Kelvin.
So is
That
that
is the
absolute zero?
That is the absolute zero.
So it's unachievable, yeah?
Particles won't have any energy and there will be complete arrest of the movement. Particle will be in a fixed state. Complete entropy will be zero. Like you will learn in the next chapter, thermodynamics, the new quantity, like new term called entropy, which is related to the movement of a particle. So that is the state, but this is not easily achievable temperature. It's like kind of what unachievable, at least under this condition. Maybe later some years, I don't know whether they will be able to cool it down till that, but so far it is unachievable. That is Fahrenheit, right?
Now, if we achieve absolute zero, then wouldn't the V by T equation become wrong?
No, absolute zero mean we are defining it as the temperature at which the complete energy of the molecule is what you can say is not there, or the movement is completely arrested. No more movement is possible for the particle. Because this starts from our definition of temperature. Temperature is the average kinetic energy of a system. The molecule, each molecule, what is the kinetic energy of each molecule? The average kinetic energy will be taken as the temperature. If that is the statement, then 0 degrees Celsius should be equal to 0 energy. But in degrees Celsius scale, 0 doesn't mean that is equal to 0 energy. That is why we had to use a different scale, a system where 0 is equal to 0 energy, and that scale system is absolute temperature scale or thermodynamics temperature scale. So Kelvin scale is one among absolute temperature system or scale, where 0 Kelvin is equal to absolute zero or absolute temperature. 0 Kelvin is the absolute complete zero. Completely total energy is equal to 0 for the system. And if you want to express that 0 Kelvin in degrees Celsius, it is equal to negative 273.15. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, anyway, this part is just for understanding, but in Charles' law, make sure that always they are using absolute temperature. On based of absolute temperature only they are defining. So as you can see in the diagram, the pressure is remained as 1 atmospheric pressure. As the temperature increases, the volume increases because faster molecules collide harder and push each other farther apart. So this is the explanation why at constant constant pressure, why volume increases with temperature. On absolute scale only you can explain, because in absolute scale 0 is equal to 0 energy. From 0 energy, if you started increasing the temperature, volume also will increase proportionately, because the particle is getting more energy. More energy means they will collide harder and push each other further apart. Because on degree Celsius basis, you cannot explain this, because in degree Celsius, 0 is not equal to 0 energy. That is why in Charles' law, the definition is derived on the basis of absolute temperature. Because in absolute temperature, 0 Kelvin or 0 means 0 energy. And from 0, if you started increasing the energy of the system of the gas at constant pressure, what will happen? The volume also will increase, because as the temperature increases, particles are gaining energy, so they will move faster and they will collide each other so that they will move apart. So volume increases. So this is explained on the basis of absolute temperature. And this is another definition. It's like kind of what we can say, derived in a different way, Charles' law. But the first statement, that is enough. What we discuss over here, at constant pressure, volume of a fixed amount of gas is directly proportional to absolute temperature. This simple statement is enough. But as it is there in the textbook, I'm just taking that definition also. For the Charles' law, we can also derive at constant pressure, the volume of a given mass of a gas increases or decreases by 1 by 273 of its volume at 0 degrees Celsius for every 1 degree Celsius rise or fall in temperature. That means Charles' law, which has been related to degree Celsius in this way. If you're not using absolute temperature, if you want to use a temperature in degrees Celsius, then the definition will come like this. That is why 273, 1 divided by 273. That means if you are increasing the temperature of a system by 1 degree Celsius at a time, if you are increasing or decreasing, whatever 1 degree Celsius is the change in temperature, then the increase or decrease in the volume will happen by 1 divided by 273 of its volume at 0. So at say example, it's 0 degrees Celsius. Say example, A was the volume. So A is centimeter cube or decimeter cube, whatever. I'm just taking an example. So at 1 degree Celsius, if you're increasing, the volume will be A plus 1 divided by 273. So every 1 degree centigrade increase in the temperature, there will be an increase in volume proportionately, and that proportional value will be 1 divided by 273 of its volume. So it will be so this much increase will happen by increase in 1 degree Celsius. But as I said, if the definition is asked, the first statement is more than enough. At constant pressure, the volume of a gas proportionally changes proportional to the absolute temperature, and that equation also is enough. V by T is a constant, that is enough. Volume is directly proportional to temperature, or V by T is a constant. What do you mean by isobar? In Charles' law, what was kept constant? Pressure, right? So isobar iso means same. Bar is actually the one unit of pressure. Bar pressure, right? That is why isobar. Isobar means same pressure. Isobar. Bar is a unit of pressure. That is why isobar means same pressure. So here in the Charles law, you're keeping the pressure as constant, making the pressure constant. You're plotting the graph for volume and temperature, which will be a straight line because they are proportional to each other. Volume is proportional to temperature, mean it is a straight line. Am I clear?